The air inside the Munich stadium on that second night felt heavy, thick with a collective breath held by tens of thousands of souls who had gathered under the European sky. There is a specific kind of electricity that fills an arena just before the lights drop, a vibration that rattles against the concrete and echoes in the chest of everyone present. For years, a single song had existed as a beautiful, painful ghost in the fandom's collective consciousness, a masterpiece captured in studio perfection but never given breath on a live stage. The crowd didn't just hope for it, they yearned for it with a quiet, desperate intensity that had built up through seasons of waiting, through distance and time, making this particular evening feel like the precipice of something historic. When the first faint, subterranean sub-bass frequencies began to ripple through the floorboards, a collective shiver passed through the ocean of glowing lights, signaling that the boundary between studio myth and physical reality was about to shatter completely. As the opening chords of Louder Than Bombs finally pierced the darkness, the stadium erupted not with a standard roar, but with a raw, emotional gasp that seemed to pull the oxygen right out of the air. Seeing them stand there, bathed in a sharp, cinematic clarity that caught every micro-expression and every exhale in the crisp night air, brought an immediate rush of goosebumps to everyone watching. The vulnerability in the opening lines was palpable, a fragile yet devastatingly powerful vocal delivery that seemed to lay bare every hardship, every silent battle, and every ounce of love shared between the stage and the crowd over the years. It was a live debut that carried the weight of a promise finally kept, each note vibrating with a dark, melancholic beauty that felt almost too intimate for an arena, yet grand enough to fill the entire universe. The members moved not just with theatrical precision, but with a deep, solemn gravity, their voices weaving together in a haunting tapestry of harmonies that proved exactly why this moment had been worth every single second of the agonizing wait. There was a profound, almost sacred tension during the bridge, where the music stripped away to leave nothing but raw vocal cords and the echoing heartbeat of the stadium. You could see the intensity in their eyes, the fierce dedication to making this long-awaited debut everything the world had dreamed of, captured in a staggering fluid motion that made the passage of time feel completely suspended. The lyrics, detailing the shattering of pain and the willingness to bear the weight of the world together, took on a living, breathing form as thousands of voices instinctively joined in, creating a massive, tear-filled choir that echoed into the Munich night. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated catharsis, a spiritual convergence where the unspoken anxieties of the past few years were finally released, transformed into a breathtaking display of artistic triumph that left the audience paralyzed by the sheer emotional scale of what they were witnessing. Before the crowd could even process the overwhelming gravity of the debut, the atmosphere shifted with a sudden, intoxicating danger as the unmistakable, sultry opening notes of blood, sweat and tears began to slither through the sound system. The transition was seamless yet jarring, shifting the emotional landscape from a vulnerable, bleeding heart to a masterful, seductive command over the entire stadium. This was the song that had redefined their trajectory years ago, and seeing it performed with the seasoned maturity of artists who have conquered the global stage added an entirely new, electrifying layer of depth to the choreography. The fluid, serpentine movements were executed with a lethal precision, amplified by the staggering visual clarity that made every turn of a wrist and every piercing gaze feel close enough to touch. There was a dangerous magnetism in the air, an intoxicating blend of nostalgia and reinvention that reminded everyone exactly why this legendary track remains an untouchable pillar of their legacy. The contrast between the two performances created a brilliant, agonizing emotional dichotomy that kept the audience locked in a state of absolute hypnosis. Where the first song felt like an open wound being healed in real time, the second was a masterclass in theatrical dominance, a display of raw charisma and theatrical storytelling that pushed the energy in the stadium to a fever pitch. The heavy, rhythmic panting of the crowd synced perfectly with the bass line, and as the climax of the performance approached, the collective energy reached a breaking point, blending the past, present, and future into a singular, unforgettable experience. As the final notes echoed out and the stage was swallowed by darkness once more, the lingering silence lasted for only a fraction of a second before a deafening wave of realization crashed over the arena, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of everyone who had just witnessed history unfold beneath the stars. The echoes of that final crescendo seemed to linger in the cool night air long after the music faded, hanging over the sea of illuminated lights like a beautiful, luminous fog. There was a collective reluctance to break the spell, an unspoken understanding among the thousands gathered in Munich that they had just crossed a monumental threshold in a journey shared across oceans and years. The sheer sensory overload of witnessing a mythical masterpiece come to life, followed immediately by the fierce, nostalgic fire of a legendary anthem, left an indelible ache of gratitude in the chest of every onlooker. In the quiet moments that followed, as the members stood beneath the fading stage lights, catching their breath while looking out at the endless horizon of devoted eyes, the emotional gravity of the night settled fully into the stadium. It was a silent dialogue of mutual survival and unspoken promises, a powerful reminder that no matter how much time passes or how vast the distances become, the bond forged through these melodies remains unbreakable, louder than any bomb, and permanently etched into the fabric of time.